this guy knows what he's talking about, and they are more likely to want to book a call, and they're more likely to want to work with you. And if we can address these wants and pains and show them, hey, I can address your pain because I understand it, and I can help you convert your pain to a want. And the way that we do that, we give away too much value through actionable advice and insights. Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. In today's video, I want to talk about how to write threads which make money. Because on Twitter, what I'm seeing is that there's many people who write threads to get likes, right? So they storytell to get likes, or they write platitudes in order to get likes. But what I want to talk about is how to write threads which make money. So let's dive right into it. So how to write threads that make money. So first of all, who am I? I'm Brian. You can follow me on Twitter at BoomerBrian. It was recently my birthday, and this was a picture that I took. And I run a Twitter ghostwriting agency for agency owners to add 20 to 50K in monthly revenue. In essence, I get clients for my clients. And these are just some results and booked calls that I got, right? So these are all from a single tweet, right? These are just a couple of them. And one of my case studies is I took an agency owner from 5K per month to 17K per month in 3 weeks. You can watch the video. The link will be in the description. It's another case study. I got a client 13 booked calls in the first week of working together, right? You can watch this other video about how I book calls with Twitter. So this is a screenshot from the conversation, right? How many calls did you book in the last week, by the way? He said 12. We got on a call later. We clarified it was 13. So let's dive right into it. What is a thread, right? So a thread in essence is long form Twitter content. And these are just some threads that I have, right? Spoke to a guy who made 12K in his first month on Twitter as an agency owner, basic B2B offer, no fancy tweets, no complex funnels. And here's the breakdown. Another one here is high-ticket B2C coaches, right? You need 3 types of content and an additional 10 to 30K per month to your top line. My formula to book 10 to 20 calls per week with Twitter. Steal this, right? So the reason I'm only showing the hooks here is because the hooks are the most important part of a Twitter thread, right? Because if we don't get people to read the first tweet, we can't get them to read the second, we can't get them to read the third. So the first one is the most important, where you will hook them into the story, and then the body will do the rest of the work, right? So the hook is the most important. So we're going to talk about the hook first and how to write a killer hook that will get people into your thread and onto your profile. So what is the purpose of a thread, right? There are 3 main purposes of a thread. First is to build trust at scale, to prove competence, because when people read your long form tweet, when people read your thread, they get an insight into the inner workings of your brain. They get to see, oh, this guy is an expert in this. This guy knows what he's talking about. And they are more likely to want to book a call, and they're more likely to want to work with you. Number 2, right? Top of funnel content. It builds your brand and reduces your need to do cold outreach. Threads have the most viral potential, right? And if written correctly, they can get you both likes and cash, right? So it's the ultimate top of funnel content because people interact with your posts, more people will like your thread, and then you can just DM them. You don't have to do cold outreach at all. All of the outreach that you do is to warm prospects, so they are more likely to convert. And number 3, lead gen, right? You can get people to DM you with call to actions. So at the end of every thread or within the thread, you'll put a call to action to get them to DM you, or you put a call to action in for them to book a call. And that way you can get more and more booked calls from your profile. So most people write for likes, but we don't want to do that. That's a mistake that many people make, especially if you're an agency owner. You don't want to be writing for likes. You want to be writing for booked calls, right? And this is just an example that I did previously. How to overcome anxiety in 60 seconds. I wrote this back in January because this was something that I didn't understand, right? So is there anything wrong with this thread? Not really. But does it target my ideal customer? Will it get me more clients? No, it won't, right? Because my ideal client wouldn't be looking for therapy from me, right? They're looking for ghostwriting for me. So this is bad thread. So today I'm going to talk about how to write for cash, or more specifically, how to write to attract clients. So I'm going to take you through my thought process when writing a thread, or the Bird Launch framework. So let's dive right into it. So it's a simple 3-step framework where number 1, we figure out what do I want to talk about, right? Based on the wants and frustrations of our clients, the requirements for virality, and how to write body, and the call to action. So what do I want to write about? So to determine what we want to write about, we always have our ideal customer in mind. The ideal customer is king, because our ideal customer has corresponding wants and corresponding pains, right? And if we can address these wants and pains and show them, hey, I can address your pain because I understand it, and I can help you convert your pain to a want through this vehicle, which is my service. So how do we do market research for our ideal client? right? So there are a couple ways we can do it. We can go on Quora, where people will ask questions on these forums and you can just read up about it. Or even better, you can go on Reddit, right? So if you want to learn about SaaS, or you want to learn about what SaaS owners are struggling with, you can go on Reddit, go on r/SaaS, and you can read up about what questions people are asking. And you can just address them in your tweets, right? Based on these pain points. Or the easiest way you could do it is that you can ask ChatGPT, right? I'm thinking of pains and corresponding wants for my target audience. Busy CEOs in the high-ticket online coaching space. And I'm thinking of set pains and wants for my business. So you give them context on what your business is. So say your business is a company that creates YouTube long and short form content for high-ticket coaches in the online space. And you just give them a couple of pains and wants, right? So one pain could be, I feel like I'm being left behind. And the corresponding want is the exact opposite, which will be, I feel like I'm ahead of the curve and not only not missing out, but creating trends of the future, right? And you just give them a couple more and you ask them, hey, write it for me in the same format. These are a couple of pains that you'll come up with, right? I struggle to stand out in a saturated market, and then a want, a pain, want, pain, want, pain, want. And with these pains and wants, you can create content based on that, right? So I'm going to talk about how to do that in a bit. So then you can ask ChatGPT to put your corresponding pains and wants into a table, and you can see it very clearly here. So if one of their pains is, I feel like I'm being left behind, you can create content that targets that, such as you can tell them, hey, it's not too late to start a YouTube channel right now because of XYZ reasons. Or I don't have creative vision. You can talk about how your process needs a little bit of info from them, and then you handle the rest of the creative vision, and then how there's an editing process to get their creative vision totally down. I don't have enough time to even make creative. You show them, hey, it doesn't take that long in order to make creatives if you work with us, right? So you solve the time problem. I want to record video content, but I don't know how to get started. Then you talk about how your service totally handholds them through the equipment buying process, the setting up of the camera, setting up the lighting, setting up the microphone, so they don't have to worry about any of those processes and not understanding any of that. And that way they can start creating video content on demand faster. So that's understanding your ideal client. So now let's talk about the requirements for virality. So I look at 5 things when I want to see, will this tweet go viral? So number 1, does it stop the scroll? So everyone's scrolling on Twitter every day. There's billions of tweets being put out every day. So you want to make sure that your tweet stops the scroll and makes people want to read on. Number 2, what's in it for me? So humans in general are selfish, right? And they are curious about what benefit can I get out of reading this thread. So you have to make it very clear what someone can get out of reading your tweet. Number 3, are you credible? So you want to show some authority so people will read your content. Number 4, is it specific, concise, and clear? So specific as in, do I use numbers? Concise as in, is it short? And clear as in, is it easy to understand? Number 5, set expectations, right? So you want to set an expectation because then people will know what they are getting into. So if your expectation is that, oh, I'm going to tell a story, then you tell the story, right? You don't talk about, oh, here are 5 ways to do XYZ. If you are talking about 5 ways to make video content, don't talk about 5 ways to do ghostwriting, right? Very clear. So let's look at some examples, right? 2 years ago, I ran a failing tutoring business. I was burned out, unmotivated, always emotional. Last month, I finally hit my first 10K per month. The story of how Twitter changed my life, right? So let's look at the requirements. Does it stop the scroll? Yes, it does, right? 2 years ago, I ran a failing tutoring business. So people are curious, oh, what's next? Number 2, what's in it for me, right? What's in it for me? They can learn about how I hit 10K per month and perhaps how they can learn how to hit 10K per month based on my story. Am I credible, right? I hit 10K per month, so that's credibility. Is it specific, concise, and clear? Is it specific? Could I have been more specific? Yes, probably, right? I said here I ran a failing tutoring business. Maybe I could have been more specific as to what does it mean to be failing? What kind of tutoring business was I running? Out of which country was I running it in, right? So I could have been a little bit more specific. Is it concise? I think it's relatively concise. And is it clear? Right, it's very clear. And do I set expectations, right? The expectation is that they can learn about the story of how I hit 10K per month. So it meets 4 out of 5 of the requirements, which usually is good enough for virality. Next, I started writing on Twitter 60 days ago. Since then, I've made $4,000, gained 3,000 followers, made 2.6 million impressions. If I had to start from scratch again, here's what I do different. So this was back in February, right? So number 1, does it stop the scroll? I started writing on Twitter 60 days ago, right? And then people are like, so what? What is next, right? So it does stop the scroll. Number 2, what's in it for me, right? They can learn how to make money on Twitter or how to gain followers, right? Or they can learn what mistakes to avoid if they were to start again. Number 3, am I credible, right? I've listed all these achievements, so yes. Is it specific, concise, and clear? I think it's relatively specific, right? I use numbers here. Is it concise? Yes, it's as short as it can be. And is it clear, right? It's very clear what I'm going to be talking about. It's very clear what my numbers are. Number 5, does it set expectations? Yes, it does, right? So they can expect to learn what mistakes I made and how I would do it differently. So 5 out of 5 here, pretty much. So let's look at a shorter tweet, right? 13 critical gym lessons I know at 43. I wish I knew at 23. With this nice picture. So number 1, does it stop the scroll? Yes, it stops the scroll, right? Because it's 13 critical gym lessons and there's this beautiful picture. Number 2, what's in it for me? I get to learn about the 13 gym lessons, right? So that I don't have to make 20 years of mistakes. Are you credible, right? He says here, he does it very subtly, right? He says, I wish I knew at 23 that I now know at 43. So it seems like he has 20 years of gym experience, which makes him more credible. Number 4, is it specific, concise, and clear? Right? So it's very specific, right? He has very clear numbers. Is it concise? It's as short as it can get. And is it clear? Incredibly. Number 5, does it set expectations? Yes, we're talking about the 13 critical gym lessons. So when I go into the thread, I should be learning about the 13 life-changing gym lessons, not just any random 13 gym lessons. So it does set expectations clearly. So now we understand the 5 requirements for virality. Let's talk about how to write the body and the call to action to fully wrap up the thread. So we've already picked what to write about. We've already written a good hook. Now all we have to do is deliver on the expectation or deliver on the hook, right? And the way that we do that, we give away too much value, right? Through actionable advice and insights. So a general rule of thumb in terms of editing and writing, I like to write once and edit twice. So I will write on the day and the next day I'll edit it once, and in a week from then I'll edit it again. If it's a super long form piece that I want to perform really well. And every tweet should make sense on its own. So let's talk about that. So for every tweet that makes sense on its own, we should use the what, why, how framework, right? What is what you're writing about. Why is why it's important, and how it's actionable advice on using it. So let's look at an example. Number 1, case studies are the lifeblood of your business. That is the what. Why, right? You should be milking every single case study until you get multiple clients each. So the why is that case study is important because we want to get multiple clients. And how is the actionable advice, which is the post 1 detailed breakdown every week. And I just link my breakdown. Call to actions. Call to actions are important because some people just need a push, right? They need you to tell them, hey, DM me. Hey, book a call with me and then let's have a chat, right? So let's just look at some examples of call to actions. Twitter changed my life. It helped me find freedom, and I'm helping others find freedom with their personal brand too. Follow me at Boomer Brian, right? So that's a follow call to action. Or for an agency owner, what will be more beneficial is a DM call to action, right? If you are this agency owner, DM me agency. And that's it. Hope you guys have learned something. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more content like this. If you're an agency owner and want to scale by 20 to 50K per month, book a call in the description or DM me on Twitter at Boomer Brian, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.